That's right. You heard her. And you're going to hear her every week because that's what she does. And this is what we do every Monday night at 6 p.m. Welcome to the call, everybody. My name is Tim Damron. I'm with the House of Yah Community Outreach. And it is my pleasure to be with all of you guys today. And I want to thank all of you guys for being here on the call. Natasha is with me today, as always, like the Lone Ranger. She's like with me. And, and Jamie, well, Jamie is with us too. Her Uber hasn't gotten here yet. Anyway, she's running a little bit late, but she'll be popping in the call in just a minute. And I'm looking forward to it. Tonight, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. But before we do that, Natasha, tell them all that fun stuff that we always talk about on Monday nights.
Well, absolutely. Well, thank you everybody for joining us first and foremost. It's always a pleasure. We just ask that that everybody just kind of be kind. If this is not your platform or anything, we just ask for you to keep scrolling. But this is entertainment purposes only. We don't promote drugs, alcohol, any of that. We do not give legal advice. We're not lawyers. We ask that you always do your due diligence before you always do anything. And we'd just like to welcome you. Please ask questions and we'll answer them to the best of our ability.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys can put them right down there at the bottom, by the way. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you can put them right there at the bottom, like the teenagers do, and you can put them down there at the bottom. I got my spectacles on so the old man can read tonight, so we're going to be good. And Natasha's here, so nobody falls asleep while I'm talking, so that's always a good thing. And Jamie will be here whenever her Uber gets here. I don't know what's going to happen there. But anyway, I want to thank all of you guys for being here on the call tonight. We're going to be talking about something that's unique. And I'm saying unique because not everybody's going through this. And like Natasha was saying, if you're not going through this and you don't identify with any of this, you know what? Don't be a thorn in anybody's side. Just keep flipping, okay? This call may not be for you, okay? And it's not for everybody, I promise you. So what we're talking about is information that's private and information that is not taught at universities. It's not taught at trade schools. ITT Tech doesn't teach this stuff. This is stuff that's been privately taught throughout the years. And what has happened is that we created two kinds of people. We created public people. We created private people. And when we think of a public person, the first thing that we think of is somebody that's very vulnerable. And that's exactly right. They are. We had Mike on here on the call not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago. And, he got sued. Oh, man. Looks like Natasha ran off on me. Just kidding. Anyway, he got sued. So he got sued for $1 million. And I mean, not like $1 million and 29 cents. We're talking like $1 million to the T, which that's pretty hard to do. I mean, my damages are exactly $1 million. Now, how did they come up with this? They looked him up. There she is. She had to go get some coffee, so I didn't put her to sleep. Anyway, so
no, my grandbaby, he loves to run away next door, and he was knocking on the door like, "Hey, let me in."
Little pig, let me in. Anyway, well, so what was I saying? I like completely lost my train of thought when you said kids. When you say kids, it's like it just goes. I don't even know.
You said something about a bond, maybe, or I come in on that. Maybe I don't know.
What did I say?
Maybe a bond. I didn't catch it.
She's falling off the cliff. Anyway, so those of you guys that are waking up, I'm talking to you guys that are starting to figure out that not all this is what you thought it was. Okay. And we're starting to figure out that people didn't really tell us the truth about contracts. They didn't tell us the truth about our driver's license. They didn't tell us the truth about a lot of things. And those of you guys that are starting to figure that out, thank you. Thank you so much, Nikki. Nikki is on her stuff. She was talking about the man that got sued for $1 million. That's right. And they looked him up because they were able to look him up. They could tell how much property he owned. They could tell where he lived. They could tell everything. This is all public information, you guys. So how do we fix that? We start operating in the private. And here's what I'm going to tell you. The tool that is used in society to keep everybody leveled out or to keep the classes separate is basically ownership of property. The more property that you hold as a taxpayer, as someone just operating out of their social, the more property that you hold, the more it's going to cost you. The more they're going to tax you, the more it's going to cost. And it's going to cost even that much more because in my process, what we talk about is operating in the private. I think there's a lot of people out there, Natasha, that are talking like, take the straw man and throw him in the trash. You don't need him anymore. And he's a U.S. citizen and he's bad. And what else do they, I mean, you know what I mean? You've heard that kind of talk, right?
Yeah, I find that a lot of them, they exactly what you just said. It's no good. They lied to us and they got us trapped and just all kind of things. And it's like they're mad about it, and they try to use old 1800 laws and common laws and this and that and the other. That's what always kind of gets me. But what they don't realize is the one thing that they're learning about is the one thing they need to learn how to use, to the best of their ability. And like what your banks do and lawyers and everybody else, how they use it to move in commerce, you should learn how to use it to move in commerce. And also learn how to be in private. That way they don't see you. They just see your trust and your straw man. And that's it.
And if they see the trust in the straw man, then if they see the trust over here and the straw man over here, there's never a connection between the two. So you look like you don't have nothing. I'm sorry, you don't have anything. It should be corrected me like all the time. She's like, you can't talk like that. I know I can't, but I do. Anyway, but that's the thing. And the reality is that we don't own anything in this country. So, I mean, if there's any real reality about what people say, is they say that, you don't own your property here in the United States. That's right. I mean, I just talked to somebody today that they're paying, I don't know, $6,000 a year for homeowners insurance. You could rent a place for $6,000 a year. And I mean, you could rent a place for $6,000 a year quite easily. And I mean, and to say that, and then the funny thing is all in the same sentence, she says, well, it's almost paid off. Is it? I don't think so. Because like I said, the longer you hold that property, the more they're going to want to tax you for it. The more they're going to want to charge you for it. And, people think that, and then you get this group that wants to own their vehicles, right? We've got the MSO. We went online and we printed up an MSO from some trailer resource place. And you printed up a new MSO, which by the way, could get you in a lot of trouble because there's only one MSO. And that MSO was destroyed as soon as it was taken to the state. So they took it in, they scanned it, and it's gone. Then a certificate of title was created as a result. And that certificate of title, we're going to talk about this more in the travel class, but that certificate of title is actually a performance bond. And they're banking and betting on you performing and making your payments. That means you doing the action, acting as such. Even if you're walking around with funny money, as long as you're acting as such, the contract performs. As long as the parties accept both sides, the contract performs. And this is what people are missing. People are not understanding this. And, this month we have a whole ton of classes that are coming up. Natasha, actually, I'm going to go real quick to, I'm going to share the screen here so everybody can see it. Hold on a second. Come on now, don't be shy.
Is it just three of us, Tim?
It is just three of us. I don't know where Jamie went. Like I tell Jamie I tell Jamie we're here and we're going to be on in 30 minutes, and we just don't get it. I don't understand why. All right, so taking you guys to the webpage. This is actually our webpage board. I'm going to read the webpage for you guys so you guys can see what we got coming up. We got a full load this month, and it's really easy to go on and set an appointment. And what you want to do is you want to go to the House of Yah Community Outreach.com/workshops. And I'm going to take you through the page right now. Those of you guys that are watching us on the screen here. We have a male class that's coming up. And I'm not talking about male strippers either. That's terrible. Don't say that. Oh, somebody was thinking that. Anyway, no, we have a male class that's coming up. Those of you guys that want to learn how to operate from our jurisdiction properly, it's doing it in the mail. Okay. And it's doing it properly. This class is key. If you want to learn how to do administrative claims, if you want to learn how to speak, so they're going to hear you and they have to hear you. This is the way to do it, guys. This is the class, okay? If you guys want to know the cornerstone or the most important tool that I used when I foreclosed on my lenders, not once, but twice in the last 4 years, this is the book that I learned how to do it with. So think about it this way. Have you guys ever watched that show called Storage Wars, where think about all that property that exchanges hands and not a single judge is involved. How did they do it? They use this book. That's how. And they create a record. And once you create that record, it's done. I'm going to show you how to use that to your advantage. I'm going to show you how to use that in so much of a better way. This is a wonderful class. And it's not even that expensive. It's a 2-hour class. It's going to be on the 13th. And the cost for the class is only $125. So it's a 2-hour class. You got templates. We got all kinds of stuff with that. Now, June 4th and 5th, okay? That's in a couple of days. So June 4th and 5th, we have UCC and Trust. This is a foundational class. This is a wonderful class. We're going to be talking a lot about this tonight. We're going to be talking about why we need a trust, why we need to operate in trust. As I've been showing you before, we don't own property, okay? We don't own our cars. Nope, we don't own it. We got a certificate of title, and the state has what they call legal title, and you have what's called equitable title. So that means you can profit off of it, but that's it. The state will tell you how much air needs to be in the tires. The state will tell you that your taillights need to be working, and if they don't, they're going to use these policies enforcers to make you do it. It's just where we are. So can you learn to master the game? Absolutely. And that's exactly what this class is all about. This UCC class is about setting up your foundation so that you can go forward, so you can learn how to discharge debt. So you're not running through your whole life just trying to fill up a bucket that just won't stay full. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Trying to keep the lights on, trying to keep the car payments paid. And my goodness, Yahweh help anybody that has to buy a car nowadays. I mean, I can't imagine. Can you imagine? I mean, just seeing a car payment on $100,000 is just stupid. And you can spend that on a pickup truck. We are in those end times. I promise you. This is why it's very key that we know how to operate. It's key that we understand these fundamentals, because if we don't understand these fundamentals, they're going to make you fill out an application and you're going to be at the mercy of someone else. Know this: if you don't learn how to contract, somebody else is. And I mean in every way, shape, and form. Those of you guys that don't have a trust set up, that means if your marriage does this, and I hope it never does, but if it does, that means your property's in trouble. But if your property belongs into a trust and it's going to your children, which is what it should be going for, not yours and hers, then that changes the dynamic of everything. This is where we need to be. And it's where these situations pop up because there's no contracts in place. If you don't have a will, what happens? You die, everything goes to probate, they take all your stuff and they give your family the crumbs and the bills. That's what they do. Not okay. We can change that. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do that. And that's what this class is for. We're going to talk more about that here in just a second. On June 11th and 12th from 6 to 9 p.m., it's a 2-day class. Both these classes are 2-day classes, 6 hours. We're going to be talking about travel and driving. Those of you guys that have seen me in the past, you'll know I've traveled the whole country for 2.5 years with no state plates. These guys that sit and talk about these private plates and this and that, let me tell you, I did it, and I did it properly. And there's a reason I'm not doing it anymore. And I'm going to be sharing that with you in this class. I'm going to show you some things about travel. We're going to show you how to handle the stops, okay? So you don't get your windows broken, okay? We're going to tell you how to handle yourself in court so you don't even have to go to court, okay? I'm going to show you cases on the second day. It's going to be nothing but law. It's not legal advice. It's stuff I've been through. And you're going to see me time and time and time again doing the very same process and getting the very same end result, which is dismissal of ticket. That's what we want to do. And we're going to be talking about administrative claims. What happens if these guys activate your fee schedule? We're going to be talking about that. And I'm in the process of actually enforcing one of those right now. So we're going to be talking about that particular case. And this just happened. It's actually pretty cool. That's going to be happening on June 11th and 12th. Now, this is my favorite class of all. Debt and foreclosure is my absolute favorite class because we're going to talk about all things credit. We're going to talk about how to deal with these people. Matter of fact, Natasha and I were just talking about this a little while ago. She sent all the 609 letters and she's done all the stuff she's supposed to do. She sent everything. What do I do now? We sue them. Oh, do we sue them? We sue them good. Oh, yes, we do. Sorry if I made y'all jump. But anyway, we sue them good, okay? And the point of this is not to hurt them. Is to keep them from doing this to someone else, okay? We have rights in this country. And these people buy licenses and they buy permissions from I don't know who to come in here and disrupt things. If I were to call you on the phone and say, hey, you owe me money and there's no contract in place, they would call that wire fraud. If I sent something in the mail, if I sent it over the phone, they would call that wire fraud. They absolutely would. But because these guys have a license, it's not wire fraud anymore. It's something else. We're going to show you how to peel that potato. So you get down to that fraud and go, look, that's what it is right there. And it's done and it's over with. We're going to show you how to take these guys out. And in this debt and foreclosure class, you're going to learn things you've never learned about contracts. We're going to show you how to monetize contracts. Oh, yeah. We're going to show you what to do with those contracts when they're done, when you've done performing. What do we do? I'm going to show you how to cash them. I'm going to show you how to get ready for them. The next class that we have coming up is tax equity and discharge. And this class is going to be on June the 25th. It's one day. It's a 4-hour, sometimes it's a 5-hour class, but it's a 4-hour class. And we're going to talk about how to discharge your debt. But Natasha, we have to start where we start. And we start with UCC and trust.
Exactly.
You know, there's a lot of people talking about UCC and trust. And I think they're missing it. I think that they're just trying to do too much, you know? Like, have you heard these people talk about filing DBAs with their trusts?
Yeah, I've never really understood why would you even want to do that? I mean, could you explain that? Why would
Rigor mortis.
You know, I think that it's I think that what they're doing is they're trying to replace themselves in the public. They're trying to replace the juristic person is what I think they're trying to do. But I think it's a total failure because here's what's happening. Here's what's really happening. You're divorcing one side of yourself without not knowing how to use it. It's like taking the only life jacket in the boat and saying, yeah, we don't need that, and throwing it off. And they go, okay, we can swim, guys, right? And everybody goes, no, we can't. What? And then down you go. The car gets repoed. The house gets repoed. Everybody's done. And I'm going to show you guys how to spot things out in your contracts and how to make these guys perform. And when they don't perform, I'm going to show you how to enforce your contracts. I'm one of the few people that has successfully foreclosed on their lenders, taken their property from them. And not only that, my students have done it too. And of course, you know, they have to be situations where, you know, the bank is in dishonor, the bank is doing things it shouldn't be doing and stuff like that. So if you're a banker out there and you're like, oh my God, this guy is preaching heresy against us, ask yourself this. If your policies are shady, you might have something to worry about. But if you're one of those up and up banks and you tell the truth and you guys never lie to your people, wink, wink, and they never do anything like that, you have nothing in the world to ever worry about. That's right. Right, Natasha?
exactly?
Yeah.
They always stay in honor.
We always stay in honor and we'll never be in dishonor, ever. I don't care how many dirty fingers they point at us and say, oh, look, they're in dishonor. No, they're not. And I'm going to show you that in this class. I'm going to show you what happens. And that's exactly what these little monkeys try to do. And they act like little dancing monkeys, and they run around all over the place, and they just don't even stay in their cages anymore. But we're going to show you how to control that. We're going to show you how to control that situation. And I'll tell you what, Natasha, it's all about position. It's all about who you are. Because I mean, who's the borrower in this situation, really, in a contract, security agreement? Who is the borrower? Do they have any rights?
No, because they're the little bitty person way down here at the bottom, and that's it.
Like that big. In a contract, it's like pages, like this big, right? And the only part of that that applies to you is that little tiny spot down the bottom. And they usually put you in a box or a short line
That says you agree with this, and this. Do you agree? And you're going to make your payments, and you're going to behave, and you're going to do this and that and the other. And you're like, yes, I will. And that's the only say that you have in it.
I'll do anything for the stereo in that car. Oh man, I remember saying that, man. Or you know what? Just sign. I want the new kitchen, honey. Just sign. God, just sign. Just who cares? Just sign. They're going to give us the kitchen we always wanted. We don't care about the other stuff. Yeah. And we need to, because we're missing it. We're missing it because we're getting lost in the details. If I told you guys how valuable, and you guys sit in this class and y'all understand how valuable your security agreements really are and how to flip them, that's going to change your situation a whole lot. You know, when I learned this process, I retired. I was 45. I'm about to turn 53, and I still haven't gotten a job at where do they put the old people to work at, Natasha? Walmart. Yeah, checking receipts. No, not this guy. He's still not there. I got handicap parking though, but don't tell anybody. But it's true. You know, I mean, you know, we get older, but we get more set up, we get more refined, but it's about operating in trust. It's about understanding who's private. And what's the best way to describe operating in the private? Is it like, do you walk around with a name tag that says, I'm private?
No, actually, the way that I do it is
What about a license plate?
No.
Come on, Natasha. No stickers, license plate, name tag, nothing?
No.
How's everybody getting out?
No. None of that.
And
that's the whole point, is to be private. That way nobody sees you and they don't know what assets that your trust has. That way it's harder for them to, like you said, go look everything up. What are you owning? How much can I sue you for? You know? So it's
these people that are filing their trust on the public land record.
Ooh.
That means you're letting everybody know who your beneficiaries are. And if somebody doesn't like you, you just gave them more. You know what? Somebody out here help me make that make sense to me, because that makes no sense to me. Does anybody have anything on that out there? Come on now. Why do people file their trust? Or why do these gurus teach people to file their trust publicly and tell all their benefit, or file their whole trust with their financing statement, with their UCC? That's a popular one too.
Because they're academics and they just.
What's up, Chris?
They're just academics. They're not practicing the actual commerce.
Did you? Now, Chris is actually a student of mine. Been a student of mine for quite some time, and we've been through some court cases together. We've been through some bad lenders together. What else have we been through together? He came down here one time. We went through that. That was
extorting Olga.
What was that?
That was a good trip, man. How's Karen doing, by the way? Is Karen good?
Oh yeah, man. She's on it. She is on it. She is the perfect paper airplane, I gotta tell you. She's the one that always flies, like, and everything works. She's just great. Yeah, she's a lot of fun. And for those of you guys that know who Karen's my girlfriend. She's super sweet. We've been seeing each other for a little bit, so now everybody knows who Karen is. There you go. And actually, I was gonna spill the beans the other night. I did a live performance, and but it was so loud in there, like nobody could hear me. I've learned something about when you play for old people, that when you bring like the PA in there, you need to be louder than like a city block to get their attention, because they just zone out sometimes. I don't know what happens, but yeah, something happened down there. I don't know what happened, but anyway, I finished playing and I went home. That was that. But yes, anyway, Karen is doing really well. She's excellent and definitely a lot of fun. But getting back to business, I got to tell you, people are missing they're missing the concept of trust, because people think that they need to possess and own things. And we're and those of you guys that we're actually in a holiday, we're actually in one of the worship days right now. And this is one of the things that we're focusing on tonight. I'll be reading through, privately of course, I'll be reading through the book of Ruth, and trying to get some wisdom from all that. And this trust was actually built on that very same premise, on Yahweh's principles of staying in honor and not doing things that are off the map. And when you read this paperwork, it's explainable. I mean, you can actually read it and explain it. And I got to tell you, Natasha, here's my number one problem with a lot of these gurus, because I probably get 5 videos a week of people, or messages saying, hey, check this video out and listen to this guy. Oh, it's 10 minutes. I got to listen to some guy tell me how, reinvent the wheel or something. And there's just so many people out there teaching a process, and I don't understand why they're teaching it, because it doesn't make sense. Like I was saying before, if you're going to you shouldn't put your trust it's a private process. We should have this stuff privately done. This is why they don't teach it in schools. Matter of fact, they don't teach much of anything in schools nowadays, or any day for that matter. There should be a class action lawsuit against all the Gen X people. Should go and sue everybody, sue their schools. I know it'd probably mess up all the kids, because then they wouldn't learn how to do anything either. But still, I'm saying there's some problems. But anyway, back to UCC and trust. One of the things the foundational things that it's really going to give you is the ability to oversee and manage your credit accounts, the things that you're doing. Because just like Natasha was saying earlier, on a security agreement, they put you in that little bitty dotted line. When you start operating out of trust, you're now a trustee, and you're operating with the intention or with the fiduciary duty to operate this trust properly and in honor, just like somebody that's at work, okay, that has a job to do. You know how the bank will always press you with stuff, and they'll conform you and say, oh, you have to do this and this and this, because this is just how we do things. Well, at the same point, you get to do the same thing. When you start operating as an administrator of your trust, which is the one that pays all the bills, you can start asking questions. If things don't look right and they're obviously not correct, you can start asking questions. And that can give you an amazing opportunity to either see what your lender is all about, or if they're bad, or if they're a bad lender, and if they're a predatory lender, then you'll be able to take care of them very quickly. And I mean quickly, like 45 days quickly. That's what I did. I actually foreclosed on my lenders and did it in 45 days. But I didn't do it from Tim Damron. Natasha, that's the difference. I didn't do it from me. I didn't do it as the borrower. I did it as the administrator of the trust, and said, hey, we have a security interest in this property, and if you're not going to do what you're supposed to do, then we're going to give you some notices. And we did. And it worked. And I've been driving the car for 2 years, and I've not ended up in court. Nobody's taken me to jail. Nothing bad has happened to me. And it's because everything was done properly and with honor. When you're operating in trust, you're looking at every avenue as a wide open street. Okay. In other words, if the repo truck goes this way, the repo truck can go that way too. And that's what a lot of people don't know in this process. They don't understand that. They think that, the whip only comes one way. There's a term out there, Natasha. Have you ever heard that term? It ain't no fun when, don't correct me. It ain't no fun when the rabbit's got the gun. You guys ready for the gun? Ready for the gun? Huh? Because here's what happens when you start taking control of your situation. That's what you're going to do. You're going to laugh. You're just going to chuckle. When they start doing something that's not in a contract, you're just going to chuckle to yourself. And then you're going to ask them. Now, this is, like I said, this is when you're going to find out what kind of lender you really have. Okay. If my lender would have said, Mr. Damron, you overpaid us. You know what? We're going to send this back to you and just keep it for next month. We just had a computer error. We're really sorry that happened. If they would have just done that, none of that would have happened. But because they didn't, and because they wanted to be some bullies, and it got to the legal department. So now you're dealing with these guys with these big egos and no brains. So now they've got a point to make. So it's not about logistics anymore. It's about, no, we have to beat that guy. How dare he write a letter like that? How dare he get out of his cage? He's supposed to be stupid. And we looked at his demographic. Oh yeah, you guys all got a demographic. And they look at you and they have computers that literally handicap you and tell them what kind of buyer you are, what kind of payer you are, what kind of mental stability you might have. All of this by how you move, how often you move, how many jobs you have. This is all fed into a matrix, and they completely handicap you to the T. Every time you fill out an application, this is what happens. Okay. So they know exactly who you are walking in the door. Okay. When the cops pull you over on the side of the road, as soon as they run your license, they know everything about you. They know how many times you got sued. They know how many times you said yes to a ticket. You could forget a fresh start. These guys know exactly who you are, but you can change that. You don't have to be all out there in the open like, hey, Angela, it's so good. Glad you're here. Man, it's awesome to see you. I hope your family and you guys are doing well. It's good to have you on the call. And Angela's actually one of my students too. She's actually done the process too. Natasha's done the process and she's been in her tax year, and Chris has done tons of processes. He's done all kinds of stuff. And I don't think there's a mountain this guy hasn't climbed yet. He's pretty amazing. So, and these things are doable, Natasha, when we have the right vehicle.
Exactly.
Yeah. If I came out to your place in my Lincoln and said, you know what, let's do some work out on the farm, you'd laugh at me. You'd be, where do you want me to put the hay at, Tim? On the hood?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Put it on the hood. No, I'm kidding. Don't do it. No. But and it would be, and you would just giggle and laugh at me just like she's doing right now. Why? Because I showed up in the wrong vehicle. She lives on a farm with bugs and rodents and things. You need guns and farm equipment and shovels and rat shot, lots of it for snakes, especially nowadays. And you need all that stuff and then probably a snake biting kit and a prayer or two before you leave. I'm telling you, man, she lives in a rough area. Lincoln, wrong vehicle. But when you're talking about the trust is the right vehicle. And the reason it is the right vehicle, and this is what your teachers can't explain, and this is what they won't explain, okay? Because they haven't done it. The trust is meant to hold property for the benefit of your beneficiaries. Those of you teachers out there that are telling you that you can sign a power of attorney and we can hand it over to the living person, and he can now go in and represent the straw man in court. Oh, please. Seriously? Wait a minute. I thought the living man couldn't do commerce. Remember, everybody? See, this is the problem we have with this movement. We're on to something, okay? You guys are waking up to stuff, and I see it. But dang it, man. Ooh, almost lost my religion on that one. Anyway, dang it, man. You got these people, and they're talking out of both sides of their mouths, quite literally. And I'm here to tell you we can do this better. I've done it. And I've been doing it since 2016. My students, they're doing it. This is going to be a fantastic class. It's going to be tomorrow night. Guys, if you're interested in getting in this class.
There will be partly sunny weather with a high of 89 degrees Fahrenheit.
What happened? Oh, she's all listening to the weather. So how is the weather, Natasha? No, I'm just kidding. So then there's a class here. What? Oh, so there is Mike. If you send me a friend request for our student page, the student page is HICO students only. So send me a request on that through Messenger, and I'll get you hooked up into the page. I apologize. Welcome to the call, Michelle. Glad you're here as well. And I want to thank everybody who's here on TikTok as well. Please like and share. This is going to be a really, really great class for you guys. Those of you guys that are learning this process and you're overwhelmed, a lot of you are. And I'm going to tell you, these teachers will purposely do this just to get you distracted. Okay. One of the things that I do, because I talk to people all the time that say they have the way, and I'm talking about attorneys, I'm talking about all kinds of people. And here's one of the things that I do to test them, Natasha. I ask them simply this: can you explain it to me? No, just explain it to me. And if they tell me, well, I'm over here and you're over here, and we can't explain, if there's some kind of great divide like that, I'm going to call BS on that. I almost lost my religion again. Anyway, we're going to call BS on that. And the reason I'm going to call BS on that is because if you can't explain it, or if your teacher can't explain it to you, why would you do it? I mean, I know that we all went to school and they put us in classes and they said, you're just going to do this, but we're not in school anymore, kids. We're not. We're in real life now. And you know what? A lot of you guys have dependents that are looking up to you guys, and they're looking up to you for answers. And our world is changing. It is changing like it's never changed before. We are seeing things happen right now that have never happened before. And it's going to continue. And if you want to stay up to speed, and if you want to be able to lead your house appropriately, because here's what happens if you don't. The TV is going to take over. Those of you guys that have kids, you know what I'm talking about. The TV is going to take over. The internet's going to take over. Their Fortnite is going to take over. You know what I mean? Whatever they're playing, whatever they're doing, that's going to take over that time. And then that's what's going to be making investments in your children instead of you. And when it comes time, they're not going to be ready. They're not. And the way that we can do this is by being ready, is by setting up a trust so that all of your hard work can be captured. Okay. And not just whatever happens to you when you die. Yeah. You ever notice there's a lot of propaganda about that, Natasha? There's a lot of people talk about that. It's out there a lot. There's little signs. I don't care what happens to me when I die, as long as my ashes are, in my garden or something like that. How many times have you heard cards like that are, out there, for people, you know what I mean? I don't care. As long as I'm fishing, I don't care. I don't care what happens to my stuff when I die. All that that's propaganda that's telling people to not care about their stuff when they die. Why? So they'll hand it over to the county. Hello. So they can steal your property. Hello. So if you keep your property in trust, that's for your kiddos. That's for your beneficiaries. That's for them. You want to set a legacy. You want to do something amazing for your children. Set up something that they can operate, so they can run, and they can have to stay out of this rat race. Once you learn this, and you learn how this transmitting utility relationship operates, once you understand how that operates, that's when everything changes. What were you going to say, Natasha? Go ahead.
No, you were doing, I was just wondering, like whenever you talk about the straw man and you talk about the living person, so one of the things that I always had not a hard time with, but getting mixed up, would come into light with everything is, so you're saying that your straw man can only do commerce, right? And the living person cannot do commerce. But
correct.
Could you explain to people, like, that with your straw man, that they made the straw man with the birth certificate, and that's how that it became created on your behalf.
Absolutely.
That way, talking about, that way they can make money off of your applications and, do commerce basically for you because you don't know how to do the commerce. Would that be kind of correct?
That's
And
exactly correct.
okay. And then, so basically with your UCC, you're actually taking control over your straw man. That way you can actually learn how to do your contracts and, take control over the property to put into the holding company, for your beneficiaries and all that. Is that kind of like on the same page,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's absolutely on the same page because that's what people are missing. People are missing this. They're missing this part because they don't understand what they're supposed to be doing. Something else we're going to be talking about is funding the trust. How do you fund it?
Mm-hmm. So on that living person, how come the living person can't do commerce? That was always kind of a struggle.
Ooh.
But from what I finally understand is because you're a living soul underneath Yahweh.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, we belong to Yahweh, and this vessel is under contract. And I mean, well, it should be under contract with Yahweh. I hope all of you guys have made a covenant with Yahweh, and if you haven't, that can pose some problems. But the intent is this vessel belongs to Yahweh, and the world can't trespass into the living man's zone because this living man or living woman is a vessel that is built to serve Yahweh only. I don't care if you're an atheist or not. That's what you were built to do. Whether you choose to do it or not, well, you know what? There's stories for that. But and they're not good. So they had to create this juristic person because the living person is under the authority of the word of Yahweh. And the juristic person is the one that stays here. He's the one that's going to be on that Hallmark card. He's the one that's going to be in that picture frame. Okay. That's who that living person is going to be. But the juristic person, that number lives on forever. Look how many numbers. Look, Doge found people that were like 145 years old and they're still getting Social Security. So that's proof that the juristic person can live on forever, quite literally. And we're seeing that. We're seeing it happen. So if you do this right and you teach your beneficiaries and your trustees properly, they could actually operate behind this trust and keep running the trust even after you're gone and still cash out all the debt. It's a forever deal. It actually still can happen. Mm-hmm. So, and that's kind of the difference. So and I think Yeshua said it best when he was talking to Nicodemus, when he said, that which is born of flesh is flesh, and that which is born of spirit is spirit. Well, what about the commerce? Well, they had to make that up. And they did. They totally did. Even your placenta, ladies, you ever notice they ask you to sign off on it? It's because they create a stillbirth. That's a whole separate organism on its own. That's like an RV for the baby the whole time. They have their own RV with the refrigerator, the goods, and everything's in there. But then when the baby comes out, that comes out with it. And what happens to it? They call it a stillbirth. Mm-hmm. They absolutely do. And some people eat it. Some people have, I don't want to go too deep into that, but that's what they do with it. But some people do and some people don't. I don't have an opinion on that either way. I just have a nasty look on my face when I talk about it. That's it. I'll leave it at that. But this is how all this happened. So they had to create this legal fiction so that it could function. And then what happens is you, the living person, become the surety for that fiction. And this is a bonding process that happens everywhere. One of the things we're going to talk about in the debt and foreclosure class is how money is created. And it's simple as that. You know what they say? And it's not created like those guys on TikTok said, it's created out of thin air. Nope, that's not true. That's not true at all. I mean, to those guys, because they got their head in Disneyland, it might be that way. And I'm not trying to be mean about that. But what I'm saying is or judgmental. But what I'm saying is that you can't say that they created it out of thin air, because it really didn't. They created it out of equity. And that means people acting as such. So they got this window called the tax, treasury, and lien window. And we all know that Satan speaks backwards, right? Yeah. You know, you listen to Led Zeppelin, worship Satan, you know, it says it all backwards, right? Okay. So we know that Satan speaks backwards. So if we take tax, treasury, and lien, and we reverse that, it's lien, treasury, and tax. Lien, treasury, tax. This is how our money is created. Think about your security agreements that you sign for your car. Okay. You have a creditor debtor relationship, right? What'd they do? Put a lien on your credit report that said, okay, Tim Dameron owes, and he's going to pay 20 million payments of $231 a month. I'm cheap. Anyway, so that's what he's going to do, right? So he's going to make these payments. He's going to perform. Okay. Think about how this doesn't make sense, Natasha. Why would you loan money on something that depreciates every single month? Why would you do that?
I wouldn't. That would be bad business.
Would it?
Mm-hmm.
What if you weren't really loaning money on the cars? What if you weren't loaning money on, well, just say the car, the motorcycle, whatever. What if it wasn't about the car? And ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, it's not about the car.
So it would be a byproduct of what you're actually doing behind the scenes?
I want you guys to think in your loans, to think of your car as like a carrot, and it's going around a racetrack, and you're like one of those Great Danes, and you're running your little skinny little butt off trying to get that carrot. And there's really no carrot there to begin with. Your car, when you get a car loan, is that little carrot. You know, when they made you fall in love with that air conditioner, made you fall in love with the stereo, the horsepower, the lift on the truck, the big tires, all that other stuff. Okay. So when they sold you your car and you fell in love with the thing, here's what you weren't thinking about. You weren't thinking about your loan paperwork. And the loan guy goes over it. He tells you where the truth in lending statement is. In my class, I'm going to show you how that thing pays you. And I'm going to show you how it paid them, because it had to, Natasha. It makes no sense why somebody would loan money on a car that loses money every single month. I mean, think about it back in the day, just not that long ago. And they said that we had a computer chip shortage. We know that was a bunch of poppycock. But anyway, they said that we had a computer shortage or a computer chip shortage, so we couldn't build any cars. So they halted production on the cars to stimulate the market, by the way. We knew that's what they were doing. And then it caused all these cars to be really expensive. Like Denali's with 100,000 miles on them were selling for 50 grand. Stupid stuff like that. And you know what? The banks were loaning money on these cars. Now, if we knew that this was a little blip in the system, okay? If we knew this was a little blip in the system, why would the banks be dumb enough to loan money on these cars at those rates? Why would they do that? Has anybody got anything out there on that? Come on, I know there's one of those smart gurus out here that stays up till 3 a.m. beating on their chest about something. Come on, you guys. Don't be silent now. You're here to make a point. Come on, let's make a point. Let's talk about it. Really. Why wouldn't they do it? I know, right? I'm trying to provoke everybody. I'm hoping David Strait will come out of his grave. Oh, we're going to get Tim Dameron. Just kidding. Just kidding. That was for entertainment purposes only, everybody, just so you know. Not meant to hurt anybody's feelings, especially if they're dead. You can't hurt dead feelings. It just can't. It doesn't work that way. I know that was so insensitive. Anyway, yeah, I know. Well, that is allowed on TikTok, okay? Lack of sensitivity is allowed on TikTok. I checked. It's in the rules. It's totally fine. All right. So moving right along, what I'm saying is that people are missing this stuff, Natasha, because they're not understanding who they are in their process. They're not understanding what, you ever heard the term, keep your eyes on the bouncing ball? Keep your eyes on the bouncing ball. And when you see the bouncing ball is your payments every month, okay? Guess what doesn't lose value in a car deal, Natasha? Chris, guess what doesn't lose value in a car deal?
APY,
What?
the percentage for the loan.
Well, okay. No, I'm okay, but I don't know, but that doesn't have any value. Well, it doesn't have value. It has value when they sign them up. But I'm talking about when the contract is performed. What is the one thing that doesn't lose money in a car deal?
The bond?
Well, there's no bond in a car deal. But you're close. What doesn't lose money is the truth in lending statement, the security agreement. It doesn't lose money. And that's why they loan money on depreciating assets and somehow make money at the end of the day. Isn't that crazy? How was that? I hope that blew somebody's mind tonight. But it's true. It really is true. Why would you do this? Because they're not watching the property, you guys. They're watching that paper. And I'm going to show you how to get that paper too, because you guys need to be watching that paper. This class, we're going to be talking about how to set yourself up for that, how to put yourself in the right position so that you can actually get this stuff back. This stuff is all supposed to go in one circular. It's not supposed to just keep falling out of the bottom of your bucket. We're not supposed to be doing that. We're not Juan Valdez. We're not out here picking coffee. This is for your children. This is for your family. This is for your long term. And, Natasha, people are missing this. And they're missing it because they're just not getting it. Now, we've got a few more minutes left. I want to talk briefly and on a separate subject about Esquiry.com. This is a brand new site that's coming up. And I don't know who's running this thing, but I got to tell you what I see so far, Natasha. It is amazing. I'm going to show you. I actually did some work with these guys, and I sent some work up to them and had them do some preparation for me for my federal case. I have a case with Houston County, so I have a federal case with those knuckleheads, and we just filed a restraining order. We sent them another offer, and then we whipped out a Monell claim. Those of you guys know what that is. That's a claim against the city for not training their employees right. Idiots. Anyway, so I got all that done. And I mean, it took an hour. Maybe. It took an hour. It took longer for me to go through it and make sure it was all right, because you got to do that. And it took longer for me to go in and go fix it than it did for it to create it. It created these Monell claims. It created all this other stuff. And, more importantly, Natasha, I'm seeing results. I had this thing work on a ticket for me in Converse. And this is a ticket that was written 2 years ago. These guys are just gang stalking and harassing me, got nothing else to do with their time, and they just want to be a big bully. Man, you talking about cutting them down to size? That's exactly what happened. We cut these turkeys down to size, and the ticket was dismissed 3 days. And I wasn't even supposed to be there till October. Didn't have to show up and go to court. This is what I'm talking about. So I invite you guys, you know what, if you guys want more information about it, I'm kind of watching to see what's going on. Schedule an appointment with me. Okay. I'd be happy to help you guys out. If you guys got stuff going on, I'm glad Chad's here as well in his household. Glad you're here, brother. Good to hear. Good to see that you're here. And we have just a fantastic group of students that have been with us for quite some time. I've been doing this 9 years. And I got to tell you, it's the best experience of my life to watch people grow and to watch people do things they didn't think they could do. Natasha, I've seen you grow and just, I don't even know. I can imagine, like, when you come home, everything's quiet in your house. Like, here comes Natasha coming in the door. We don't know what she's going to say today. I mean, it's going to be something good, because that's Natasha. It's what she's done. And she's really taken this process and really, really done well with it. I got to tell you, I'm so proud of her. She's one of my best students. She really is. She's great. Thank you so much for all that you do. And all of her victories too. I mean, just, praise Yahweh for all of her victories. She's doing so darn good. And I'm so happy with her, so happy with the things that she's doing. But and you guys can get in the same position too. It's all about understanding. Okay. Are there any real shortcuts on discharging debt? Yes and no. Yes, there are shortcuts, but if you hear all of the other Peter Pan stories that are out there, then I would say no. But yes, there is, but not according to the other stuff that's out there. Because I keep hearing all kinds of silly stuff. I heard some guy say that Natasha that after he got his straw man, or after he filed his UCC statement, that the EIN, that he called the IRS to get a trust, which they don't do. But anyway, he called the IRS to get the trust, and then he got the trust, and then he got the trust EIN. Lost in the sauce. Anyway, and then and you've done this, so you're like going, no, that's not how that works at all. So we see these actors, and I see this guy say that, oh, and that this trust is going to replace the living you. So and everything will just transfer over. It's what he said. No, that's not true. No. How would you describe it? What is it more like?
It's nice. It's actually just kind of taking charge of your life and doing the things on the trust side that you've actually already doing. If, for example, somebody sends a letter to your house saying, hey, you owe XYZ, you have to answer that, don't you? So now, whenever you're in that position of being the administrator over your trust, you can challenge that because you're in the right vehicle, and most of the time get that dismissed or just, kicked out. So there's different things like that, and that also helps protect my children. So I'm like, I don't know if this is blow Joe down the road, trying to get 7-10 grand out of me saying I owe something, that you don't have a contract with me. And most of the time people would just pay that, thinking that they actually do owe it. And technically they don't, So, I mean, there's just different things as far as your contracts. It's travel and drive, with your tickets, getting those dismissed. But the most important thing in dealing with the UCC is learning how to budget my money, how to put all my property in a safe holding place for my beneficiaries. And that way nobody's looking at me, and I'm private. Nobody sees my trucks, my tractors, my house, this, that, or the other, or my money, and they can't come back and sue me because trust cannot be sued, and they cannot sue either.
That's another reason why you don't need a POA. I should have told you all that, but that's another reason why you don't need a power of attorney, is because nobody can sue the trust anyway. My goodness.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just actually, it's actually like what I said in the beginning. It's due diligence, it's sitting down with your classes. You give us all the tools, you answer all the questions. You're a phenomenal teacher as far as that. If we have any questions afterwards, take time with us, to where if we don't understand, you say, okay, well, let me put it to you this way, and then see if you kind of understand it. And once you get it, you're like, okay, it makes sense. And that, circle that you keep talking about, it actually starts coming all the way back around, and it meets. And then you're like, oh, so this is why they don't want to teach us this in school, because we actually get the upper, on them, or your government that everybody's supposedly mad at, instead of getting mad at them, do the same thing, like, as you said, exactly. The road goes different ways, learn how to do it the way they do it.
And that's exactly right. And if Jamie was here, Jamie would say this. Apparently she didn't get on her Uber today, but it's okay. If Jamie would say this, she would say that, gosh, I almost don't want to steal her thunder. But Jamie would ultimately say that, you're in charge of your life. You're in charge of what you do. Mm-hmm. And our job is to really show our children that we can hold on to stuff, that we can maintain something for them. Because if we can do that, you're putting yourself in a position where you can't be stopped, and your children will never be hurt. Nobody's ever going to pull anything out from underneath them. One of our students, Christine Caton, she was sued for over $7,000. But because she was operating from an administrator's point of view, because she was able to ask those definitive questions, she made we made one response to the local courts, and they didn't even show up to court. And they didn't show up to court because there was no reason to show up to court. And when you start operating from this persona, you start really seeing things for as they really are. And you're able to just knock them out one at a time, one at a time. If you guys are interested in joining this class, it's going to be happening. It's going to be tomorrow night. Tomorrow night and the night after. So 2-day class, 6-hour class. Call my office tomorrow. We have 3 seats left over. So, and it's 210-605-0144. Call my office tomorrow morning after 10 a.m. Central Time. That's Texas time for you guys. It's 210-605-0144. Give us a call at my office. I'd love to talk with you, see where you are in your walk, and try to answer some questions if I can for you too. And if this is a good class, if this is the right class for you, I would love to have you in the class. But I just want to talk to you first, make sure this is the right class for you. Make sure that you're in the right season. Not everybody's in the right season. And not because I'm better than you or better than anybody else, because I'm not. It's just I've been doing this a little bit longer. And it kind of depends on where you are. But if you're ready to do this, if you're ready to step inside, watch how this private side really works. It basically works like this. Everybody sees you, but nobody talks to you. Nobody connects with you. Kind of like the person that checked out your groceries last. Think of it that way. That's somebody operating in the private, has access to everything, but you don't even remember her name. She probably had a name tag on and everything. I know I don't remember her name either because I associated her with the business. They will associate you with your trust as well if you do this properly. I hope you guys have enjoyed tonight's call. Natasha, I want to thank you so much for being here. It's just always a pleasure having you. Chris, thanks for dropping in tonight, man. I'm glad you're here too. Glad your Uber made it. And thank you, man. Thank you for all the things that you do, man. We appreciate your support. And Natasha, thank you for everything. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I think you pretty much covered it. I just want to reiterate the whole reason that I even, started listening to you is because you made the most sense and you could answer my questions as far as, why do I need a trust? What about the straw man? This and that and the other. And you answered the main question at my time was give up your nationality, become a state national. And you're like, no, don't do that, And then after you explained why, I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense, But I wanted to do this for the protection of my children, my grandchildren, and like you said, leave a legacy for them. But not only that is I'm going to teach them how to do the same process, for their future children as well. So, and if it's just something that resonates with you, then, give Tim a call. It's a great class.
That's 210-605-0144. My office opens tomorrow at 10 o'clock Central Time. Love to hear from you. If you guys have questions about if you got court stuff going on and you need some help, you know what? I have a ton of resources. Okay. I've pretty good friends with some of the guys over at Esquire. So I can help you. We can get into the doors over there. They're still working on the website. They've got stuff that's going on, but their paralegals are over there and they're actually really, really good. So if you guys need help and you've got stuff going on, schedule an appointment with me. And I'll try to work in between that and try to help you out as best that I can. I hope you guys have a beautiful, wonderful evening. Natasha, thank you so much for being here. It was such a wonderful pleasure having you. Chris, have a wonderful evening. We'll talk to you again. I can't wait. We'll see you next
you're
time.
Better. I just want everybody to know on this call, you have more technical proficiency than my own attorney. And that's why I stopped filing my trust, my irrevocable trust with him and went with you because I've gotten more insight. Even tonight, the truth in lending statement, I knew the TTL window, but I still didn't understand how APY that it was linked up with the TTL. And
Yep.
that's just something that you just can't get from an attorney that's living in their own. It's mind-boggling, but so thank you, Tim.
Thank you, man. That's awesome. I didn't expect all that. Thank you, man. Sorry, I made my face red. Anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Good night, everybody. Be super blessed, man. And I hope Yahweh bless your day, your homes, all of you guys. Y'all be well. Good night.
Good night.
Hold on a second, everybody.